So wait, 3, 2, 1, go. Where'd that come from? Okay. Oh,
Do we have an image coming of Chris?
This is a quick message from the green room. There was a technical difficulty in that the producer was unprepared, and part of this didn't start streaming until right now. Continue with the regularly scheduled PitchIT. You should go over the intro one more time, though. Just saying.
All right. So coming at you live.
So the Wizard of Oz spoke behind the curtain and told us that he messed up again. So thank you, Wizard of Oz. So welcome to PitchIT, IT Nation PitchIT with the MSP Media Network with me and the host. I'm just a co-host right now. I'm here with Alex, my great friend that I can't wait to see next week. So to give you the cliff notes, we'll be at CompTIA. We're so happy. I count down the days, lots of minutes, lots of hours. Now we're on with the actual guest that we want to talk to, which we got to because we thought we were live. Now, back to that.
Up to speed.
That was a great job, Sean. Good job.
Thank you, Wizard. Thank you, Wizard of Oz. Thank you.
What I was saying before the Wizard of Oz spoke was, guys, I'm really happy to be part of the PitchIT session this year. It's been a great experience for us. Sean, it's been great working with you. Alexandria, nice to meet you too. We've been looking forward to this particular PitchIT session all week long.
Awesome. Yeah, no. And so Alex probably won't know because she wasn't around when we did this. So you weren't with us when we did it. At Secure this year, we did a pitch off, kind of just a mini pitch off at Secure at the Solution Theater. And so out of nowhere, Chris was then thrown into us. And I was told Chris is going to be the one pitching. I was like, who's Chris? And I didn't even know who he was. I knew who the company was. I knew everybody else was. I didn't know who he was. And then he came up and he kind of crushed it a little bit. I mean, well enough that they said, Chris is now our guy for the rest of the season. He'll be the face. He'll be doing all the stuff. And
so your company was in PitchIT, but you were not leading the PitchIT project then? Is that what I'm understanding? And they kind of threw you in the ring? All right.
And in between talking to MSPs at the ConnectWise show, I was frantically putting together my speech and practicing it. There was just a little bit of pressure to really nail it. So that was a fun time.
You obviously nailed it and worked well under pressure because here you are, sir. So tell us a little bit more about you personally and how you got in the MSP space.
Yeah, I've, despite my debonair young looks, I've actually been in the MSP space for 19 years, since 2005. I was a longtime employee of Enable back in the day, working on their N-Central RMM product. I've also taken care of MSPs with a consulting company that I ran for quite some time. And then from a product management perspective, I've been involved in the telecom space and the security space quite a bit as well. I worked with Pat Leonard, he's our CEO, when he was a customer of Enable, and when he was looking to kind of bring on that first product management lead for the MSP Process team, he and I started talking, and here I am. It's been a great ride so far.
Awesome. So you've been in the MSP space, you understand, maybe the pains, the needs. So tell us how MSP Process fits into that.
Absolutely. We took a look at where we could provide value to somebody. What are some small spots, some big problems we could solve? Where do we start? And what we did was we took a look at the entire tech stack. Pat used to be an MSP himself. He's been involved in things like Backup Radar. He sold that to ScalePad in 2021. He's kind of a serial entrepreneur. He's got a lot of expertise in the MSP space as well. We took a deep look at what are some of the pain points people are experiencing these days. They've got their RMM, they've got their PSA, but there's always chinks, holes in those areas. And what we came to find after looking at it was there were areas around communication. Oh, there we go. There's our website. Thank you, guys. There are areas around communication where MSP's customers are looking to really be communicated with where they live on their phone, for example. But that is something that MSPs typically don't want to do because they don't want to give out their technicians' phone numbers, for example. Or if the phone goes away, those notes about what happened with the ticket aren't in the ticket. And so they're on the person's phone, and that's not a good thing. There's reasons why, for example, MSPs don't want to talk to their customers via text message. But their customers want that. There's a pull for that sort of thing. And so we found that was a really interesting spot where we could play. Now, that was successful, but it wasn't really the thing that set off kind of the fuse that's lit what we're doing today. What really came in handy was with the rise of AI, which does a lot of really beneficial things for everybody. There was also a rise of how easy it was for nefarious actors, malicious foreign state actors, script kidders, whatever the case may be.
We've got some integration questions. I know we're all excited about AI. I hate to cut you off, but
Yeah.
What about integration capabilities? And of
Yeah.
course, what does that integration look like with ConnectWise? Is that's of course the best PSA.
I love having curveballs halfway through what I'm saying. That's excellent.
We're gonna keep you on. We're kept on our toes. We're keeping you on your toes.
It's
You
great.
know, keeping you nimble.
Yeah. So we integrate with every major PSA player in the MSP market. We are specifically focused on the MSP space. We have deep integrations with all the leading players, including, of course, ConnectWise. They're great. Our integration is at the ticket level. We have a pod in ConnectWise that MSPs can deploy, and that lets them do things like verify their end users, have text messaging chats, send and files or text data to their customers right from within that pod, right from within the ticket. They don't need to go to a different screen or log into some other UI. Everything's done right there, which makes it very efficient. And everything's also logged against the ticket. So you have a lot of good kind of cover your butt logging as to who did what and when.
So it sounds like all those pain points you're kind of saying, you know, they want to be able to have all the information in there with the communication. So you're fixing that for them.
Absolutely.
Correct? All right.
You know, I like this question a lot. It's just simple. What are your differentiators between there's other companies doing this, right? But you know, what's the differentiator for you?
There's several. So there are lots of tools out there that let you do the individual pieces that we offer. And some of them are great tools, but none of them are integrated into the PSA the way that we are. None of them are able to do the kind of logging integration that we do. And more importantly, there's a lot of vendor fatigue in the MSP market. You don't want to have to handle 10 different vendor relationships just to get a couple things done. We provide 5, 6, 7, 8 different features that MSPs were typically getting from separate vendors, then having to manage those relationships. With us, you consolidate. You have one platform, one spot to go. It makes it easier for your technicians to use, gives them the functionality they're looking for, and you don't need to worry about having to manage 10 different credit card bills, 4 different statements, 5 different biz dev manager relationships that you're taking care of. We're the single one. We do a great job of it.
Dean's thrown a lot of great questions out today. So what about the tech apps? How much better, faster is yours? There is a lot of people have opinions about mobile applications.
Yeah. We have a really great technician app that is meant to let your techs very quickly understand what tickets are assigned to them, add notes to them, get contact information for the customers, message back and forth if they need to. And again, all that gets logged in the ticket in the real world. It is a phenomenal app that gets nothing but really positive praise. In terms of how much better and faster is it actually, I'd say it's at least 68% better and probably in the order of 524% faster.
Okay.
How's it better? How did you determine that percentage? Just curious.
Very complicated math. I'm not going to go into it here.
So the question's always going to come down to play. And yeah, Dean, I know it's not one of your favorites. That's fine. You've got to apologize to me. I didn't build the product. And that's one. Two, the fact is the question actually lends to another part of the question that's not there, which is, you're here to be complementary to the ConnectWise product line. So that integration piece question and that together are this. So how do you make it easier when it comes down to a partner working with you and us? What do you guys do that's different, or how do you make it possible?
The reality is the ConnectWise ecosystem, the APIs you guys offer, the integration opportunities you guys present to third-party vendors like us, they're really easy to work with and to facilitate and to provide something of value. You're right. We're absolutely complementary to ConnectWise and to your partners. We make it easy to set it up. It's literally, 5 or 6 minutes. You create an API user, give us some keys, drop a URL for a pod in your ConnectWise instance, and voila, you're off to the races. The other thing we're focusing on, and this is something I think really resonates very well in the MSP market, is we really pride ourselves on the level of customer service that we provide. As a newer company in the market, we really want to make sure we are listening very closely to what kind of issues come through support, what kind of feature requests people are looking for. We pride ourselves on how it is that we evolve the product, how we support it, and how we help people onboard and use it. That's a big part of our DNA.
Cool. Yeah. That's, Dean, you're an alien. Yeah, you are. Of course. Would this replace them?
It could. I've worked with a couple of MSPs who use Nilier, and our pod for ConnectWise does show up in there. I haven't personally taken a look at the Nilier mobile app. I don't know if that's what he's asking about here, and if that's any different. But
he said about tickets. He does say it would replace Nilier tickets mobile.
Yeah.
So yeah. And the same question about Traceless too.
Yeah. So Traceless is a competitor of ours for sure. We think we offer a unique blend of features at the right pricing with the right kind of integration that makes for a really compelling set of tools for people to use. If you're looking for end user verification, if you're looking for sending data, the other thing I'll mention that our competition doesn't do, because we are in the process of patenting it, is not just end user verification, but tech verification. You guys all saw that CDK dealership breach that happened. That's because there was somebody who's acting as they were faking being an MSP's technician calling customers, and were able to get in to the CDK environment that way. We offer a capability where your end user can actually request that the technician give them a verification code. So instead of the tech verifying that the end user is who they say they are, your end users can verify that the tech calling them is in fact working for you as an MSP.
Nice. Okay. And how do you do that?
Yeah, so the way that works is we give because it has to be simple for an end user to do something like this. They just need to send a simple text message, #verify, to a phone number that we've provided to the MSP, and that initiates that verification feature. If the tech really does work for the MSP, they've got access to that request in the pod in ConnectWise or in the PSA, and they're able to read the code back, and life is good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. That's actually, that's kind of important, because actually I listened to a podcast where a guy his job was to go break into banks, essentially. He'd act like he worked there, and he would just like walk in and just download all the stuff and walk away. So totally appreciate that. Yeah. I'll find that for you.
Well, awesome.
All right. So we have to bring up our next one, right?
Yeah, it's time. Let's bring him on up. Mark Heather, co-founder, CEO, and channel director at Compliance Aide.
Good afternoon for you guys. Good evening for me.
Yes. Yeah. Thanks for coming on.
Well,
Mark.
we're supposed to say good evening to you, Mark, not you say to yourself. I don't know. I don't know what to do in your part of the world, but that's how the communication goes. You say hi, I say hi.
Oh, that's right.
Right.
So, Mark, tell us a little bit about yourself. Sean loves to know favorite colors. So if yours is red, I'd be happy to hear it. Kind of seems like you got a red theme going on. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I'm pretty much veteran of the industry. Started out as an engineer, pulling fiber optic cables and doing that sort of thing. Moved into networking and security. Security basically led me into compliance, and that's really where I've been for the last 18 months, 2 years, doing different things, along with like a extended detection and response platform, which we were, myself and my co-founder, Randy Blasik, were looking at, what was around at the time. And basically we were getting our lunch eaten by the big boys. When XDR was relatively new, we were there. And then small companies like IBM turned up and decided that they wanted a slice of that market. And where we were being asked, where's your support? And we'd say, well, it's in Europe, it's in here. And IBM were going, well, which street do you want the support to come from? We basically were losing the battle on a daily basis. So we looked at what people were looking for before they bought an XDR platform. And what they were really looking for was how much of an XDR platform covers my compliance requirement. So whether that's NIST or ISO or whatever it was, they were ticking the boxes to see what it was. So we looked at a few things. We looked at compliance, because that's something which is needed everywhere. We also looked at security awareness training, because once again, that was a compulsory factor for a lot of things. And finally, before you could do anything, you have to have an up-to-date inventory. So we looked at those three factors, and basically 2 of the 3 were pretty well established. There are some good companies out there, but compliance seemed to be ignored. And with Randy, he had done some stuff with AI. He had built and sold an MSP, a tier 1, top 5% MSP in the US. So he understood what it was that compliance could deliver for an MSP. And he also built his platform, coincidentally, on ConnectWise. So we had the 3 factors that we needed, and we put that together, and basically we came up with compliance plus artificial intelligence equals security, basically, from our perspective. So
would you say that's your differentiating factor, is that you're leveraging AI? I feel like I hear a lot about, compliance, security awareness training. I don't hear a lot of them leveraging AI in it. Would you say that that's kind of your differentiator, or what are yours, since there are so many in the space?
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for whoever's put that up. Yeah, we are not only using AI in our business, we use AI to build our business. So from a number of personnel in the company, should we say, we've got, I think it's 11 AI agents now and 2 humans. And the 2 humans are myself and Randy. The AI agents, we can do things like we have Client Simulator, and that Client Simulator can take on different personalities. So when we do things like testing, or we want to write a blog, or we want to write something from somebody else's perspective, that AI Client Simulator can basically 1 minute be an MSP, the next minute it can be a lawyer, and it's answering the questions on compliance, cybersecurity compliance, from the personality that it's taken on board. So that's just one of the things that we do it for. We also use it for prompt engineering. So Randy would kick it off and it will come back with more prompts. So we're using AI, as I say, to be the business, as well as using AI as the business. So that's really a big differentiator for us.
Totally agree with that, first off, but AI is still a scary term to everybody. So how do you make people feel better about that fact? Because again, you can go back to, we've been around for a long time. First off, we like to hear people on the phone sometimes and actually talk to them. That's one, too, right? That's the first thing. Second thing is AI itself is left unchecked mostly, other than by you or the person that the actual user or the producer of it. So
yeah, the sort of questions that we obviously get asked are things like, people have heard of AI hallucinating, where it gives disparate answers and things like that. To sort of put that to bed, the way AI has accelerated in the last 6 months, that hallucination or that drift from an answer has been greatly reduced. And as an example of that, there was a medical exam taken by an AI agent, and it was averaging 80%. The human was averaging 60% on the same paper. With a bit of tuning, they got that up to 90%. So the drift from a required answer to a completely nonsense answer now is virtually non-existent. Certainly in the compliance world, it's certainly no different to if you asked one auditor a question and you ask another auditor the same question, you're going to get a slight difference. But if you like, that's the hallucination.
Dean has Dean with all the good questions here. Basically just saying that, a lot of these compliance platforms and tools end up, being more of a template, and then advising, and it's kind of frustrating sometimes. So how does your platform make that any easier? Obviously policy documents can be frustrating sometimes. So how are you making or facilitating that for the MSPs?
Perfect question. What we do is, if a client, from an MSP perspective, we offer it as a service, and the MSP doesn't have to do a thing. They just need to give us security-related documents from their client. So if their client's got old policies or anything which has got security, and that can be a PDF, it can be a Word document, it can be a ConnectWise document, anything, we can ingest that onto the platform. The platform then understands, reads, and will align exactly what you have to the questions in the framework that you're trying to adhere to, whether that's NIST or ISO. And from that, obviously, you can build a gap analysis. Next step from that is to take that information again, plug it through the system again to get a full assessment. From the full assessment, you get your plan of action and milestones. And at each stage, you get a full set of security documents. Those documents are not templates. They are specific to each client, because at the end of the day, they're built from the information that you've given us. So the gap analysis, stuff like that, has come from there.
So it sounds pretty thorough. It sounds pretty efficient. That actually takes us to a question where from Dean again here about pricing.
Sure.
There's nothing on your website. So Dean pulled his best dad joke, so it must be free. Because if it doesn't ring up, it must be free. Right. Thanks, Dean. But yeah, so how does your pricing look? Is it, and this will actually, when you answer that, is it only for MSPs, or is it MSPs to their users, or how does that work?
Right. We are selling through MSPs. So our pricing is to the MSP. At a typical audit, we call it, we're charging $4,800. And when you compare that to a physical auditor, shall we say, they charge around $20,000 to $30,000. The big thing with us as well is we deliver everything I spoke about in 48 hours. So you get alignment, an assessment, gap analysis, and a full set of policies all in 48 hours. And those policies are tuned to your client. So,
and is that per that price is per client for the MSP, or that's like a monthly fee for the MSP for all their clients?
Yeah, so it's per audit effectively. So
audit.
You imagine you've got 10, you're an MSP with 10 clients, all in some sort of regulated industry. You're not going to be, the end user's effectively expecting to see a bill of around $20,000 to $30,000. So that's $300,000 worth, whereas you're at $48,000 or whatever. And you can make your own margins on top of that. It's entirely up to you.
And Dean's got another great question here as well. The documents they're providing, whether it's educational for your team, client facing, branded ones, it's super easy to verify. So how do you verify those?
Sorry, which the documents that we're getting?
Yes.
When you say verify, you mean?
So it really comes back. The question boils down to, as far as the inputs, how do you know what data to input? Because a lot of people don't know. So if you're going to a client for the first time and they don't know what to give you for documentation,
right?
How do you educate them? How do you guide them? How do you make it happen as quickly as possible?
Okay, I mean, we look for anything which they have, which is security rated. So if they've got old policies, doesn't matter how old they are, we can take that. If they've got nothing, then we leave them with a questionnaire from a system called Cyber Essentials, which is a good document for onboarding clients. And over here in the UK, Cyber Essentials is a standard which just about every industry is going for now. It's cheap and cheerful, but it's backed by the UK government. So and you get cheap insurance because of it. But what that enables you as an MSP outside of the UK, shall we say, is it gives you a set of questions that have got, in effect, UK government backing that cover the whole landscape of what's in your cybersecurity footprint. So you're not scrabbling around for documents all the time or questions to build to give to your end user. So you can look at it, get the results back and say, of the 50 questions, you can only answer 10 of them. You're too much of a risk. I'm not taking you on as a client. So,
okay. So you give a curated experience and you tell them what they have to have. They have to submit everything. You're actually telling them what to do, which is important, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's the goal. That's the main piece at the end, because compliance and cybersecurity is a very Wild West area still for a lot of people. So, all right. Welcome back, Chris.
Thanks, guys.
So there's a question here right there.
Mark, right, this one's for you.
Okay.
If we're using something like Compliance Scorecard or Fort Mesa, would you still use your platform in combination, or would you be like a surplus, or would you be an addition to?
We would probably be prior to something like Compliance Scorecard, because they tend to be more on the risk side of the business. And what we do is we answer a lot of the GRC platforms, for example, don't actually answer the questions on a framework. They will manage your journey through the framework, but they don't answer the questions for you and then give you, how far away you are from what an expected answer is to look for. So that's our main differentiator there. So we can work with these guys as an input into them. So that's really where we are.
That's good. That's good. So you're actually agnostic to a degree, able to blend in with everybody else, which is important.
Yes.
Yeah. And I like this question here, though, about, can a vendor buy Compliance Aide?
Can a vendor? Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Well, when you say vendor, you mean will we do an audit for a vendor?
Yeah. The same services, the same everything. Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go on to the ConnectWise marketplace and the 2024 PitchIT contestants, if you go to our tile, there's actually a link there for you to be able to apply for an award, which is effectively you get 5 free NIST audits where we will do the alignment and give you a first kickoff set of policies. Just go through the link and we'll send you the secure URL and away you go. And it's self-serving. So, the idea is that, as much hands-off as we can possibly will be.
Absolutely. That's great. Okay, good. So, don't want to take away Chris's time too, unfortunately. You know what, Chris? I'm sorry. You're talking to it with a compliance guy. They all nerd out on compliance. They always do. It's always
an area for sure.
It's like all the time.
So on yours, Chris, do you have any type of, do you offer referral programs or NFR for other vendors, channel only, anything like that?
Yeah, good. That's a good question. We, from a pricing perspective, I'm going to dive into that for a moment to better answer your question. We really feel like end user verification specifically is a really key tool for any MSP to have in their toolkit. And so our base plan is free. You can sign up, no credit card required, and that gives you basic end user verification over email or over a text message from one of our pooled numbers. Higher plans, of course, include things like Authenticator, other features that are super great. But really, from our perspective, we want to make the barrier for you guys to start using MSP Process, start verifying your customers and being secure in the communications that you're doing with them to be as easy as possible. And so that's why, from a pricing perspective, we make it free at the first tier, and then off you go from there.
So free for just the first year, for just the verification. Got it. Yep. Nice.
Yep.
Did we say year or tier?
Tier, sorry, tier. Good question.
Tier. Sorry, I thought I heard year. My apologies.
So what can somebody really accomplish in that first tier? When do they know they have to move on to the second?
Yeah, so with the first tier, you get the great integration with ConnectWise, with other PSAs. You get basic end user verification. We find that folks typically want to move up to that next level when they want to do things like use our opt-in form to question their customers like, hey, can you give us your phone number, please, so we can talk to you over your phone. We want to store that in your PSA. And we want you to opt into receiving text messages from us. In a lot of cases, depending on where you live or maybe what vertical you service as an MSP, you've got to have the user opting in to receive text messages from you. We make that really easy, even in our first paid tier, to get that functionality.
Okay. And so I'm assuming the majority of your customers are all in that second tier already.
Yeah, and another really great bit of functionality there is our Microsoft Authenticator end user verification piece. Instead of sending them a text message or an email, you're just giving them a verification request in their Microsoft Authenticator app, which they're all comfortable with. Everyone's got that app on their phone, so there's nothing for the customer to install. It's great, and it doesn't require any setup on the end user's part.
And the only other thing I have to ask from both of you is there a certain type of what they keep? Are you channel only? That's a good thing to acknowledge first. Are you channel only, both of you?
Yep.
Yes.
Perfect. So there's no direct selling going on from either one of you to end users.
No.
That's always a concern. The other thing, then, what I was going to go with even before that, before Oz rudely interrupted me again, is there a certain type of or size of MSP that should be talking to you guys? Operational maturity is a real thing, right? If they can even handle it. So is there a certain size of MSP that you should be working with, a certain industry they should be working with that would make sense for you all? And I'll start with you, Mark.
Sure. For us, we want to work, or our target MSP is somebody who has clients who have compliance as a requirement. So it's a mandated thing for the industry that they're in. So whether they're in healthcare or whether they're in finance, it's that's the sort of MSP that would be our prime target. The size doesn't really matter, because if they've got 10, 20, or however many in an industry that is regulated. That was the word I've been struggling for. So we're looking for MSPs in a regulated industry who service a regulated industry.
Okay. So, all right, that's fair. How about you, Chris?
Yeah, we really span the entire MSP market. When I look at the MSPs that we have today as partners, they span the entire, from really small shops all the way up to big shops. As we take a look at the different features we have in our different pricing plans, I do find it tends to be that medium to large size MSPs tend to glom on more to some of our app bots and our ticket observability and scheduling observability. But we really have customers across the entire spread, because everyone needs end user verification. Everyone needs an ability to talk to their customers efficiently.
Fair. Okay. I looked up at Dean's comment. I don't want to talk about it.
Well, let's ask for our new favorite question then. If you're going to step into the PitchIT ring and throw down with another competitor, who are you most afraid to go up against? Mark, we'll go with you first.
I think it would be Daniel, to be honest. 2 reasons. One, he's English, same as me, so we're going to be scrapping over that. But I think his value proposition is very, very good in energy saving. I don't know what it's like over there for you guys in the US, but over here in the UK, we are struggling to pay our energy bills. Our energy bills have gone right through the roofs completely. So anything which saves like that is a big value opportunity for Daniel there. So that would be from a product point of view and a value proposition to a business. You're saving money. That's got to be a good thing.
All right. And what about you, Chris?
That's easy. I was at the IT Nation Secure conference, like you said, Sean. I watched Alexandra and her team at Cavello do an ad hoc, what feel like awesome rap. I can't rap. So from my perspective, my fellow Canadians out of Waterloo, Cavello, they're I'm scared.
Wow.
I like that. I like that. Now I've got to hear her rap. We were on and she was ready to just rap her pitch. So, I mean, I believe it that she would be vicious in a ring. So I feel you there, Chris.
She is pretty tenacious about it. And that's fair because even with the rap, she really was able to convey the point of everything. So that was really good. All right. So we have, is there any other questions we got to get out there?
Dean has one more. Let's see. What's the problem with the rest of the Union Jack? Why did we leave out the rest of the oh gosh, Dean.
No, Dean has no questions.
Dean
So
has no
move
questions.
on to the elevator pitch. Very simple, guys. You got 30 seconds to do your pitch. And then we'll make fun of you after, no matter how good you do, you'll do something wrong regardless. Even if you don't, we'll make up something to make sure you don't feel good about yourself yet. So I guess, Chris, you're going first because that's who's on the screen I can see.
Sure.
It's got front and center. So as soon as the timer starts, you start. As soon as the timer stops, you're done.
All right.
So we're ready when you guys are ready to start timer, Mr. Oz. Go.
MSP Process is here to help MSPs with how they communicate, both with their customers and also internally between their techs or other teams in the organization. With end user and tech verification modules, we make it easy to securely understand that you're talking to the right person and that you're not going to make a mistake or get compromised by somebody trying to get access to your environment or to your customer's environment. With our text messaging and our client portal.
And done. He muted you. That was great. Wow. That's new, Chris, by the way. That's the first for that. Wow. It's first. Man, this is all surprises right now happening. So, yes, you pretty thorough, maybe too thorough because you're going too long. I think you knew that too. So, when you have 30 seconds, and we treat 30 seconds seriously because you worked at a booth. And when you're working at a booth, people walk up to you, you have that first 30 seconds to catch their attention. That's why. Or if you're cold calling people, and you probably don't because you're a product manager, Chris, but you cold call, you have 20 seconds for them to pay attention to you. So that's why we take that serious.
Not just pay attention, but grab their interest to want to keep paying attention, as well as we all know minds drift often. I'll say the one feedback I constantly have on here is that you don't really need to reintroduce. I think a lot of times people waste time reintroducing. I think if you can just really jump into either the how you stand out in the space compared to other solutions that are like you, since there are a few out there, it's really great. Or just immediately addressing the pain point that you're solving is a good way just to jump on in and really grab their attention. Because sometimes you kind of stumble over and like, oh, this is what we do, and this is, it kind of drags on. So if you can grab their attention with that, how your differentiator or that pain point that you're solving, I think that's the best way to do it, in my opinion.
Great. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. All right. Up next, let's get Mark on the screen here. All right, Mark, when timer starts, you go, man.
Compliance Aide is an AI platform designed to simplify cybersecurity compliance by significantly reducing the workload from months to 48 hours. For MSPs, it transforms a complicated task to a profitable opportunity without additional overhead. Offering the service, MSPs only need to provide client security-related documents, and Compliance Aide takes care of the rest, providing assessments, alignments, plans of actions, and policies. The service costs $4,800, considerably less than the $20,000 to $30,000 currently in the market.
Wow. All right. Well, you know what? You stumbled at the end because you were worried about time.
Because I saw the clock.
Absolutely. Well, here's some advice for you guys in general. When you prepare to do any kind of speaking in any kind of time frame, you only plan enough content out for 60% of it of the time, because you have to give yourself time for stumbling, or if you decide to dive into something, or just basically forgetting too, because it happens. So, anything you do, if it's a 20-minute talk, you get 15 minutes of talking that you prepare, because then it gives you 5 minutes for engagement or whatever extra time, whatever may happen. So anyway, go on, Alex.
Yeah, I thought you did really great. I loved how you kind of jumped in and really just said how you solved the pain point of, getting it to them in 48 hours, and you did a really good job of positioning what you offer. Really, the only feedback I would have for you for what I would have done differently is, instead of saying how much yours is compared to how much others are, maybe just say, hey, look, on average, we're saving MSPs this much money. Kind of two birds, one stone.
Makes sense.
It depends, though. You can't. Yeah, she's right. Especially if you're trying to quickly run down the gamut of it. But the reality is, MSPs are so sticky with things. They want to make sure you're an expert. So if you're going to say dollar amounts, you better make sure they're accurate, right? That's first off. And if you do, you earn credibility instantly from that alone. But again, though, in 30 seconds, if it doesn't fit, you got to make sure you pull it out. I do think it's important to. I do like that you did get to the pain point right away, and I do like that you talked about the value of it. To me, the value add was the velocity of 48 hours, and then on the other side was the actual difference in cost savings. Now, you do lose credit because you're from the other side of the pond, and we already beat you guys. And the fact that neither one of you picked an American company to lose to, shocking. Wait, shocking. The Canadian company picked a Canadian company you're afraid of. The UK company picked a UK company. Shocking.
Come on, Sean. We let you win the golf. What more do you want?
I mean, did you really win? Did you let us? I mean, you really let us do anything. We can't just take what we want from you all.
Good job, guys. Don't let Sean beat you down too much. I'll be the positive ray of sunshine. I think we have some good takeaways here. So where are we going to be seeing you guys next? You already know me and Sean are going to be in Atlanta, seeing each other at ChannelCon. Where will you guys be?
Oof, that's a good question. From our perspective, we are very much still in startup mode. So we're doing what we can with you guys more than anything. So we're doing stuff on LinkedIn and things like that. But locally, there's the MSP show coming up in Olympia in September. So we'll probably be mooching around there, sort of seeing what's going on, see what the competition's up to, and that sort of thing. So and I know Randy, who's US based, is looking at some of the hackathon type things as well as the IT Nation stuff. So we just need to be careful where we go spend our dollars at the moment until Sean sends me that check.
And what about you, Chris? Where are you going to be?
Yeah, we found attending events and conferences to be a really great way to get our name out there, to acquire new leads, and to make customer relationships. You're definitely going to see us at any of the next ConnectWise shows. We've got several roadshows planned for the next, not roadshows, sorry. We're attending several conferences and events throughout the rest of the year. We're definitely going to be on the road in front of anybody who's traveling. We will see you there.
Awesome. Well, I am excited to see you guys continue on throughout the process and hear your feedback after for all the amazing coaching you guys have been getting from Mr. Lardo here. If you guys do want to carry on conversations, or if anyone in the chat wants to carry on conversations, please head over to the MMN Discord. We would love to answer any questions or continue to chit chat over there. So if you have not already joined, please come join us and let's have more discussions about everything we discussed here on PitchIT today, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Anything else? We're done here.
Sean, I'm so ready to get. He said he was excited to see me. Now he's excited to get rid of me.
Well, the quicker that we get off of this, the quicker I go to bed, and it's the next day, and then the next day.
I'm just kidding. I'm done with you, Sean. Bye. See you later.
Fine.
Chris, Matt, so lovely to meet you guys. Get rid of Sean, Oz.
Yeah, thank you all. And thank
of the MSP Media Network.